All right, so you want to know how to handle change, right? Like really get it and get it fast. You've heard Who Moved My Cheese is the book for that. But honestly, who's got the time to read everything these days? That's why we're doing this deep dive. This book, it's a parable, kind of like a story with a hidden message, all about those times. Life throws you a curveball.
And the cool thing is how it uses this simple story, right? Four characters looking for cheese in a maze to show those feelings, the ones we all have when things get turned upside down.
Okay, so I bet you're thinking, cheese, mice, what's that got to do with my life? Well, get ready, because this is where it gets good. The cheese, it's not really about cheese, it's standing in for anything we really want. That dream job, a solid relationship, money worries gone, even that feeling of like inner peace, everyone's chasing that.
Exactly. And that maze, well, it's all of the different ways we try to find those things. Work, relationships, even our own mindsets. It's like they're all part of this big maze.
So picture this. Our four characters, living it up at Cheese Station C, total cheese paradise, right? Then bam, one day, no more cheese, gone.
And this is where it shows you how differently we react to change. Sniff and scurry, those little mice, all instinct. They don't waste time moping. They just accept the cheese is gone and boom, start sniffing out new possibilities.
But Hem and Haw, oh man, totally different story. Hem, he's furious. Who moved my cheese? He's like convinced someone's messing with him, wants everything to go back to how it was.
That classic resisting change thing, we see it everywhere, right? That comfy routine gets messed with, that easy situation shifts, and we get stuck in denial or pointing fingers.
And Haw, he's stuck in this like helpless mode, hoping the cheese will just poof, reappear. Maybe if we just wait it out, he thinks everything will go back to normal.
Which, let's be real, is rarely how life works. But the interesting thing about Haw is he starts to realize, holding onto that empty cheese station is making things worse. He starts questioning what he believes, asking himself, if I wasn't scared, what would I actually do?
Like he's finally waking up. He has a choice. And this is where we get that handwriting on the wall thing, those little messages Haw leaves for him, these little bits of wisdom, nudging him to get with the program, to embrace the change. Stuff like, if you don't change, you can become extinct. And when you move past your fear, you feel free.
Those messages, they're powerful because they hit those deep truths, about how we go through life. Like little reminders that we can choose how we react to change.
And eventually Haw, he decides enough is enough. Faces his fears, goes back into that maze looking for new cheese. Scary at first, but then he finds little bits of cheese along the way. Just enough to keep him going.
Like the universe is giving him a little reward for taking action. And the further he gets into the maze, the lighter he feels, more energy. That fear starts fading, and he gets a little bit of that adventurous feeling.
He goes from cheeseless complainer to full-on cheese explorer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Learning to adapt, let go of the past, be open to new stuff.
And then, bam, he finds Cheese Station, then this amazing place, tons of delicious new cheese. And guess who's already there? Happy as can be, chowing down.
Sniff and scurry. They'd already moved on, adapted, found a whole new level of abundance. No time wasted overthinking or stuck in the past. They were busy enjoying that new cheese.
Such a great picture, right? Hem and Haw stuck in their old ways, sniff and scurry, thriving in a whole new cheese reality. But here's the question for you. Which one are you right now?
Are you a sniff, a scurry, a hem, or a haw? And maybe more important, what cheese are you looking for in your own maze?
Okay, so we've met our cheese chasers. We kind of see how this cheese thing works. But how do we actually become more like Sniff and Scurry, those guys who just roll with the punches?
Right, that's the big question. Who moved my cheese? It's not just a story. It gives you a way to actually do something. And one of the biggest things it teaches is this anticipating change thing.
Okay, so like, do we need a crystal ball to see the future? That'd be pretty handy.
Well, maybe not a crystal ball, but definitely getting better at noticing stuff. Remember how Sniff and Scurry were always checking out that cheese supply? They were tuned in to those little changes, the hints that things might be shifting.
Like little cheese detectives, gathering clues. So how do we do that in our own lives? What kind of clues should we be looking for?
Pay attention to the trends, like what people are saying, the little shifts happening around you. At work, maybe it's keeping up with industry news, going to those conferences, talking to folks outside your usual bubble.
So being proactive, not just reacting when something blows up.
Exactly. And in your personal life, it might be noticing those patterns in your relationships, those little changes in how you talk to each other, how you act. Are there things you're kind of ignoring because it's easier to pretend everything's fine?
Oof, that one hits a little close to home. Okay, but say we've tuned in, we see change coming. What then? How do we avoid becoming frozen in fear?
That's where the scurry part comes in. Taking action. Don't get stuck overthinking everything. The longer you wait, the harder it gets to actually make a move.
So just got to channel our inner mouse and go for it.
Kinda, yeah. But here's the thing, sniff and scurry, they're all instinct. We humans, we've got this thing called fear.
Ah, fear, the ultimate cheese thief.
Exactly. Fear can make us cling to that empty cheese station, even when we know it's not doing us any good. That's why the book says it's so important to challenge those scary thoughts, those beliefs.
So those what if I fail? And what if I'm not good enough? Thoughts.
Exactly. Those thoughts are like roadblocks in our maze, stopping us from reaching our full potential. We got to learn to question them, to look at them differently.
So instead of what if I fail,
Yeah.
maybe it's what if I learn something, even if it doesn't go perfectly.
Bingo. That's the kind of thinking that helps us break free from fear. And remember, you don't have to do it all at once. Even little steps forward can make a big difference over time.
Small steps, like those bits of cheese Ha found along the way, right? Kept him going, gave him the energy to keep searching. Speaking of, there's another big tool the book talks about, visualization.
Ah, yes, the power of imagination. Remember how Ha really pictured himself enjoying that new cheese? It kept him motivated, helped him focus on his goal.
So it's not just about hoping for the best. It's about actively picturing yourself succeeding.
Exactly. And get this, there's actual science behind this. When we visualize, our brains kind of act like we're actually doing the thing.
So we're like tricking our brains into thinking it's already happening.
You could say that, which then makes those brain connections stronger, making it more likely we'll take action and reach our goals.
Okay, so we've got anticipating change, taking action, fighting that fear, and visualizing success, like a cheese seeker starter kit. But let's be real, even with the best tools, change is still hard. What are some of those traps we should watch out for?
One of the biggest ones is getting stuck in the past, hanging on to how things used to be. Like him, refusing to leave that empty cheese station because it's comfy and familiar.
The good old days syndrome, we've all been there.
It makes sense, right? Change can feel scary, like you're losing your footing. But the truth is, holding on to the past just stops you from moving forward, from seeing those new possibilities.
It's like trying to drive looking only in the rearview mirror. You're gonna crash.
Another crap is making things too complicated. Remember how Hem and Haw spent forever analyzing why the cheese was gone? They got lost in the why and forgot about the what now.
Overthinking champs, those two.
And sometimes, the simplest way is the best. See the change, feel your feelings, then do something. Don't let fear or overthinking freeze you up.
Less thinking, more doing. Inner mouse time, remember.
You got it. And here's another important thing. Change rarely goes in a straight line. There'll be detours, dead ends, maybe even a few wrong turns.
It's a maze, not a highway. Bound to be a few twists and turns.
And that's okay. It's all part of the process. The trick is to see those setbacks not as failures, but as chances to learn and grow.
So even if we find an empty cheese station, we don't give up. Dust ourselves off, learn from it, and keep exploring.
That's the spirit, because here's the beauty of change. It's a journey, not a destination. Even when we find that new cheese, it doesn't mean it's over.
Because who's to say that cheese won't move again?
Exactly. That's why it's so important to have that adaptable mindset, that willingness to keep learning, growing, changing with things.
So we've learned to kind of see change coming, take action, even handle those fears. But life keeps going, right? How do we keep up that cheese-seeking energy even after this deep dive is over?
That's where building a mindset comes in, one that's adaptable that you can keep using. It's not like a one-time fix. It's something you practice.
Like building mental muscles for change.
Exactly. And one way to do that is making reflection a regular thing. Remember how Haw, even after finding that awesome cheese station N, he didn't just sit back and relax.
He was like, okay, that was cool. What's next?
He kept exploring, stayed curious.
So even when things are good, we shouldn't assume they'll stay that way forever.
It's about balancing, enjoying what you have and of you, but also being open to what else is out there. Regularly asking yourself, what's my cheese right now? Does it still feel good? And am I even in the right place to be chasing it?
Like a cheese check-in, making sure things still make sense.
I love that. A cheese check-in. Because what we need, what we want, it changes, right? What we loved a year ago might not be what we're after today.
And sometimes it's not even about finding new W cheese, but realizing the cheese we've been chasing, it's not even what we really want anymore.
Absolutely. It's about staying true to yourself, what you're passionate about, making sure what you do matches up with what really matters to you.
Okay, so we're checking in with ourselves, making sure we're headed in the right direction. But what about those times when things go wrong? When the cheese just disappears again?
That's where resilience comes in, that inner strength to bounce back from tough times, learn from the challenges, and keep going.
Like having backup cheese power.
Love it. Cheese Power Reserve. And resilience, it's not something you're just born with. It's a skill. You build it over time.
So how do we get those resilience muscles working?
It starts with changing how we see challenges. Instead of failures, they're chances to grow. Every time we hit a wall, we have a choice. Let it defeat us, or learn from it and come back stronger.
Like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly. And part of resilience is knowing yourself, how you react to stress, to change, to those times when things don't go your way.
Noticing those negative thoughts, those fear reactions that might be holding us back.
Yes. And then choosing to react differently. Could be something small, like taking a deep breath, going for a walk, talking to someone you trust.
Finding those healthy ways to handle the ups and downs of the cheese hunt.
And remember, resilience takes time. It's not about being perfect. It's about getting better little by little. Every time we choose to be brave instead of scared, every time we bounce back, those resilience muscles get stronger.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Who Moved My Cheese, what's the one thing you hope people take away from it?
That change is just part of life. It's gonna happen, whether we like it or not. But we get to choose how we react. We can be like Hemem, holding on to the past. Or we can be like Hog, going on the adventure, finding those new possibilities.
So it's not if the cheese will move, it's when it moves, right?
Exactly.
Hmm.
And we've got everything we need inside us to adapt, to grow, to create a life that feels good no matter what life throws at us.
So keep looking for those opportunities, stay curious, and enjoy the ride. Who knows what awesome cheese is waiting for you out there?